Welcome to Spice World 2020, the virtual edition. And this is the Eaton presentation, how Linus Tech Tips almost burned down his server room and what you can learn from it. So we have what we hope is a very informative session for you today. Won't be quite the same as going to Spice World in Austin and going out there on the Spice World floor, having a cocktail in the evening and things like that, but we'll do our best to keep this entertaining. Here are your presenters. Sammy on the right, he's a UPS product manager. He manages products including the Eaton 9PX UPS. He is a Spice World veteran, and that's me, well, sort of me on the left. I've been a green guy in the community for a number of years, and there are those who call me Tim. So this is us last year at Spice World, and you can see Sammy there on the left. We were T-Rex jockeys with inflatable dinosaurs running around, which was really a lot of fun. That's me in the center, and we had a blast. We really enjoy Spice World, and it's always fun. Year before, we did a more cowbell skit, which was fun, and we really get into it. We're very authentic. That's a just to be clear, that's a flesh-colored fanny pack that I'm wearing there. So we strive for authenticity in everything we do. So high quality products, high quality booth staff and costumes and things like that. And then a few years ago, this is probably one of my favorites. Actually, we took our rack PDU throne. This was in well into the Game of Thrones seasons and things like that. It's a big deal. But we brought our rack PDU throne in there. We're close personal friends now with Spice Rex. That's us there on the right. So the Eaton staff that for that event, and we always wear kilts. So that's something we always do every year. It's a lot of fun. We got our Spice Work socks. For some of you who are joining for a Spice World virtual for the first time, you've never been to Austin. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again next year and stuff like that. But really, it's a really fun event. So we encourage you to come next year, assuming that happens. And then we also showed up as Monty Python the Holy Grail characters. I'm not sure who came up with that idea. We do have a strange person there in the middle. The witch managed to escape before we could burn her. And that's me on the right as Tim, the enchanter. And as an enchanter who can summon fire without tinder or flint, I do have a related story. And that's the Linus Tech Tip story. So earlier this year, back in February, Linus Tech Tips, I think most of you are familiar with who he is. Entertaining, some people think he's crazy, maybe all the above, but he had an incident in a server room with our Eaton UPS, and there was sparking and smoke and things like that. And so he posted on YouTube and shared the video. Obviously, we took note of that. So what happened is a photographer in the facility plugged in a 1,000-watt light bulb. That triggered a series of events that overloaded the UPS. We're not exactly 100% sure what happened, but there's a loose connection on the UPS. That triggered, and you can see the aftermath in the picture there. Not good. So anytime you see sparks and charring and things like that, so smoke and fire and things like that in a server room are more scary than they running out of bacon. But we had technicians come in and take a look at what happened, and they traced it back to the original installation. So because of the loose connection, it wasn't installed properly. And then the other thing is, Linus did not have a service plan, so nobody had really looked at this UPS in 4 years. So no preventive maintenance visits, nobody looking at the capacitors, the connections, the batteries. Eventually, we worked with Linus. He ended up going with a new Eaton 9PXM UPS and installed that. So fortunately, as Zenfrog is pointing out there, his blood pressure is kind of returning to normal levels. You can see the video posted, both this one and the original one, on his YouTube channel. But he kind of walks through the installation and all that type of stuff. It's a pretty entertaining video, but he's up and running again. So fortunately, in this case, damage was limited. No one was hurt, and he was able to get UPS up and running again. Being in the UPS industry, you can imagine we've seen our share of horror stories, and there's a few pictures here on the screen right now of thermal runaway incidents. Large UPSs, big batteries, but they're really scary. And so we were thinking about the Linus Tech Tips incident and other stuff we've seen, and we thought for Spice World, maybe we could share some of our best practices and tips. So what is it we can learn? And that's what we're going to go through with you today. We'll go through 10 tips that are hopefully very informative and helpful. So before I begin and turn it over to Sammy, I just want to lay the groundwork here a little bit. There are multiple types of UPSs, of course. Some are very large. So you see the one on the left, about a refrigerator size. Some of those can get really, really big, take up an entire room. So you have a big room of a UPS, an entire room of batteries and things like that for the largest data centers. Most of the time, for Eaton, for the large UPSs, we require somebody to come in from Eaton and start up the UPS. And most often, that's the best option also on moving forward to do preventive maintenance visits and things like that. So to make sure a couple times a year they come in and check everything out, batteries, connections, and things like that, make sure it's running properly. So it's really important to have a service plan for those. And you see the one in the middle there, that's actually the 9PXM. And those are modular units. And in some cases, a user like such as yourself can install that, take care of it themselves. A lot of times we'll recommend, and Sammy will walk through these tips, have an electrician come in and install the unit. A lot of times you can take it from there and swap out batteries or modules and things like that yourself. But it really depends on what kind of unit you have. And then the ones on the right are your standard plug and play units. Those are the types of things we ship it to you, you plug it in, you can do it all yourself, you take care of the maintenance and all that type of stuff. So we'll kind of consider all those things. And yes, that's our Eaton Double Duck, who has installed an Eaton 5S UPS on his coffee maker, which is critically important to him. But I'm going to turn it over to Sammy now, and he is going to walk you through 10 tips.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And so just to quickly introduce myself again, my name is Sammy Hosseini. I am a product manager for the Eaton UPS single-phase double conversion units. And last year, I think I was about 2 months into my stint in this role. And Mike did invite me to Spice World last year, and it was absolutely amazing. It was my first big trip in the role, and it was very interesting. I met a lot of different people, and it was wild that last night going to Austin City Limits, Mike, and dressing up as T-Rexes. I actually wore it again with my daughter for Halloween, so it's coming pretty handy. I didn't know you were dressing up, Mike. If I knew that, I would have worn the T-Rex outfit, but I'm sure it'll get some more use. But yeah, so Mike mentioned we're going to talk about some tips. So let's jump right into 10 useful tips when buying and installing your backup power equipment. So the first tip, have an electrician install all hardwired UPS units with a big emphasis on hardwired. So an exception can be made for plug and play models, usually seen at or under 5 to 6 kVA. You're generally good to go, but it still isn't a bad idea to have someone review your work afterwards. This is especially true with many of our 9PX, 9SX, and 5 series models. So number 2, not so good vibrations. So during shipment, connections can come loose on that integrated solution. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not moving inside. So this is when that electrician can truly come in handy, ensuring those connections are secure. And 3, we look at considering the location and environment. And this is in regards to airflow, heat, humidity, and dust. And don't stack stuff on top of the UPS. It gets hot. Never block the ventilation grates. Never expose the system to direct sunlight. Optimum operating temperatures for a lead acid battery is around 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. The Eaton Environmental Monitoring Probe, which is pictured here, comes in handy. The Gen 2 EMP is a connectivity device that enables you to collect temperature and humidity readings in rack enclosures. It monitors environmental data remotely using Eaton's power monitoring solutions or a standard web browser. So 4, we see limiting access to the UPS. So as Mike mentioned with Linus, a photographer plugged in a 1,000 watt bulb and that triggered the event. Of course, it was more than that. So even so, limiting access is a good idea. We see another example where we had a situation of a cleaning staff plugging in a vacuum cleaner into the UPS. So for smaller UPSs, one possible option is a wall mount enclosure for secure installation. We now offer the mini rack pictured here, which provides an edge solution for customers looking for a reliable enclosure with security and fitting into confined spaces. . Number 5, warranty and service plan. So depending on the UPS, we offer anywhere from 2 to 5 year standard warranties. Extended warranties are available, which will extend coverage time and expedite replacement equipment and batteries. Extended warranties are particularly good for plug-and-play UPS models. A variety of service options are available, which will save time and money by minimizing business interruption and cost of downtime. It will also enhance overall return on investment by extending the lifespan of your critical power equipment.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt Sammy. We got a bonus tip. And actually, maybe it's not a tip so much as a helpful reminder. Lift with your legs, not your back. So obviously UPS can be heavy, and lifting with your back can be a pretty bad thing. So you'll see a picture there of Linus and his electrician moving the Eaton 9PXM UPS. Fortunately, there's no batteries in there. It actually comes separately and can be installed once you move the UPS into its final installation. And I will go ahead and foreshadow one of the upcoming tips and note that lithium-ion batteries are 40% lighter than lead-acid batteries, so much easier to move around and install.
So let's talk about those pesky batteries. So battery replacement averages anywhere between 3 to 5 years for VRLA or lead acid. So keep a record of when batteries were replaced. Replace all batteries at once, including both internal and external batteries. Batteries kept in storage without periodic charging will die. An effective UPS battery maintenance program must include regular inspections, adjustments, and testing with thorough records kept. So as Mike mentioned and foreshadowed, what about lithium-ion batteries? So here we have pictured the 5P Eaton 1U 1500 VA UPS. It is our first single-phase line interactive lithium-ion unit. And we also see a graph charting out the characteristics and comparing the lead-acid versus lithium-ion. So we see an average battery lifespan of 3 to 5 years for the lead-acid battery versus 8 years with the lithium-ion battery. The overall benefit is 2 times longer life. The recharge time from 0% to 90% runtime capacity, 24 hours for the lead-acid battery versus 6 to 8 hours for lithium-ion. That's 3 times faster recovery. The battery weight, as mentioned, 19 pounds for lead-acid and 11 pounds for lithium-ion, 40% lighter weight. And then you have the battery replacement cost, $520 for an average lead-acid battery versus 0 for the lithium-ion battery. And why is it 0? Well, obviously because you're not buying a replacement battery at 3 to 5 years for the lithium-ion. And the warranty with this unit, you get 5 years for this lithium-ion unit, and you have 3 years for the lead-acid. So speaking of lithium-ion UPS, how about a shameless plug of our new product launching in the December-January 2021 timeframe? The product is the 9PX UPS with lithium-ion batteries. We're offering 6 models, low voltage and high voltage, in the 1 to 3 kVA range. The smaller footprint can be seen in the 2U UPS and 1U EBM for extended runtime. Set it, forget it is the #1 value, and we can offer this with 8 to 10 years life expectancy for batteries. At launch, we will be the first major UPS manufacturer to offer a global double conversion 1 to 3 kVA lithium-ion UPS. So very exciting stuff. Look for that to come. 8, get a network card. So what is a network card? Well, it allows for secure monitoring and control of an individual UPS via web browser or SNMP. This helps in performing orderly shutdown of servers and storage. And Eaton has the first UPS network card to meet UL and IEC cybersecurity standards. With this enhanced security, we see stronger, safer architecture, certificate pairing, and password management. Outside the security upgrade, the Gigabit network card offers numerous enhancements, including greater speed, compatibility with better performing and widely deployed Gigabit network switches, and compliance with Gigabit-only data center networks. 9, integrate a maintenance bypass. So we highly recommend configuring a UPS with a maintenance bypass. You can switch over to utility power without shutting down your equipment while servicing or replacing the UPS. The one shown here is for mid-sized models, but you can add them for smaller UPS units too. Maintenance bypasses are also integrated into power pass distribution modules, which are compatible with many of our single-phase UPS units.
Quick little slip there. But, so another bonus tip, and if you have an Instagram account like I do, I follow All Green Lights based out of Pennsylvania. They do some really neat work with some wiring and stuff like that. So I've kind of grown to appreciate a well-groomed network closet. But the photo on the left kind of shows the before and shows the UPS at the top of the rack. So they've smartly moved that to the bottom of the rack. It's also a redundant solution. So you've got the two UPSs, both supporting the same load. And that redundant solution, in fact, it's got in the middle of the rack on the after, it's also got an automatic transfer switch, which is a really great best practice to include as well. But that redundant solution is really the most reliable. So it's always good to see that stuff. That's another good bonus tip for you.
Well, that brings us to our last tip of the day, and that's let someone else worry about it. And by someone else, we mean Eaton, of course. So we have IPM and remote monitoring, but specifically we're going to mention Predict Pulse, which is a remote monitoring service where we proactively monitor your UPS. It mitigates downtime risk associated with battery and capacitor failure. You can proactively replace components before failure and extend asset life using data. One use case involves a very large retail giant. The IT crew was tired of getting calls from their stores from store managers about beeping UPSs and having to send out staff to fix these issues. Now, Eaton proactively monitors it all and sends field techs before the IT staff even knows there's an issue. So that pretty much sums up the 10 tips. Between Mike and myself, we were extremely happy to be here and do this on a virtual platform. I know it's not the same as many years past, but we thank you for attending. And I think now we'll just pretty much open it up for some questions and we'll see what we have.
So I think we're ready to roll with questions. Sammy, I don't know if you want to, I think there may be a couple you want to address real quick on the latest ones that came in.
Yeah, Mike, I had one question and I already responded back. The question is, and let me get back to it. How does your system deal with dendrites in your lithium-ion batteries replaced within a certain period? Question. So Phil sent this out, and Phil already replied back. Just give me your email address, and I've got some good material on that to answer your question. I think there was another question that I just went ahead and answered online. If an EBM is applied at a later date, should the battery still be replaced at the same time as the other batteries, or can it then be staggered? Pretty much, I would just, it depends on when you bought it, because obviously if you bought an EBM a year after the UPS, you would think it would be a year later for those battery replacements. I would keep accurate records. When the UPS needs its batteries replaced, replace those, and then do so with the EBM at a later date. And Mike, we didn't have a question here, but I know you commented and I commented also. It was Sammy, you let us down. We always look forward to Eaton and the themed costumes, LOL. I apologize, Sandra, for letting you down. I did want to dress up as a T-Rex. I do have a Stone Cold costume that I got going for Halloween this year that I was thinking about doing, but not really themed. But well, I'll make it up for you. Make it up to you next year.
And we do have a question about cloud monitoring for our PDUs. I believe that was for the last part there with Predict Pulse. ties back to the network card, and I believe that we're in the midst of coming out with a new network card for our rack PDUs, and I believe that's the one where it'll be integrated. I think that's where it'll be integrated into Predict Pulse, but we should probably post an exact answer on that on our Eaton page.
Let's see. What is the cost of the lithium battery? So we've already released a UPS line in the 5 series, the Line Interactive series. It's been released for about 2 years now, year and a half, 2 years now. And then for the slide that I mentioned in the presentation, that's for my UPS, the double conversion 9 series. We haven't really set pricing yet, but going with lithium ion battery cost, the cell costs, it looks to be anywhere from 1.5 to 1.8 times the lead acid UPS. So that's what we're looking at right now in the market. And Mike, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, that's what that's for. Sorry about that. I have 2 IDFs that I do not have Eaton UPSs in yet. Can the environmental monitoring probe Gen 2 still work in there? I think it requires the Eaton network card. That's another one we should, like the cloud monitoring, we should double check on that one, but I believe it requires an Eaton network card. So. And we have another one, I believe. Oh, the APC question. Mostly, it's, I think, what makes us better in APC, it's mostly our very handsome green guys on Spiceworks. It really depends on the application and what type of UPS. Sometimes it can be really hard to separate at the low end for a desktop UPS, the feature sets and things like that. At that cost point can be a little bit difficult. And then as the UPS becomes larger, the price point becomes higher, power range higher, a lot more capabilities, a lot more different differentiation between the vendors and the products. So it really kind of depends on your application.
Mike, we have a couple more for lithium. Let's see. Wave with a lithium battery. So on the single phase side, as I mentioned, we do already have in the 5 series, the 5P lithium ion. So it is a sine wave. It is line interactive. So outside of that, we do not have a lithium ion offering for non-sine wave. I don't know if that answered your question, but hopefully got kind of to a couple of details.
I think there's a question there on the another lithium ion. Is there any weight savings to the lithium ion batteries versus other technologies? So Sam, you want to jump on that? I think that was in your chart, but you can jump.
Yeah, and so there is a significant weight decrease when we're looking at lithium ion battery packs versus lead acid. And I want to say that in the chart, it was around like 36% decrease. I could be off by a few points, but there is a significant savings in weight. So you will see a lighter rack with that lithium ion battery.
And there was one there, sorry, I think we missed one. And that was the, is there a trade-in program? James and Smokey Reno is asking that, I think. We do have an upgrade program. Sure, I can, usually done through our channel partners. So I think that's another one we should post as a response to our presentation here. But yeah, we do have an upgrade program.
And James also posted, do you have documentation that can be used to help differentiate between the VRLA, or lead acid, and the lithium, especially for cost versus cost savings. So yeah, so James, I think we already have some documentation that one of the other product managers created for the 5P lithium ion product line. And I'm actually in process of creating that right now with all the other marketing assets. So what I can do, if you'd like, you can send me your email and I can go ahead and forward you the documentation that we have right now. And then also, once I have the other information for the 9 series, a new product introduction, I can forward that to you also.
And one other thing, any of these questions, so if there's something you didn't think of, you can always direct message me in the community. So I'm a green guy on the Eaton page. I'll be usually listed. Pretty easy to find. So don't hesitate to ask me individual questions on the community, in the community as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mike. And following up on that, because Mike is so active in the SpikeSworks community, he always sends any of the product managers pertinent information, questions, pictures, lots of good stuff. So we always stay in contact.
Do have a couple more questions that have been coming in here, Sammy. See if we can get to them. I'm missing the one on the Viking helmets, but Viking helmets are always something we consider for each Spice World. So we'll have to figure out. Hopefully, we'll be in person. That'd be great. I think we're all itching to get back into Austin next year, but definitely Viking helmets anytime we can.
Chad has a question. Is there any increased risk with thermal runaway lithium ion versus lead acid? I think we have some great information. And Chad, I'm going to please send me your email or even get in touch with Mike on SpikeSworks. I have some documentation, some FAQs dealing with this. It's kind of a long answer. So we can send that to you, Chad. And another question here. I joined at the end. What is the difference in lifetime between the lithium and I guess the lead acid batteries, what we're comparing? And the big difference is battery pack replacement. When it comes to lead acid, anywhere from 3 to 5 years is the normal. When it comes to lithium ion, we're looking at about 8 to 10 years. So, you know, in that presentation, we were talking about replacing the batteries at maybe year 4, and you're not doing the same with lithium ion, another 4 to 5 years down the road.
So we got a couple comments there about the session. We appreciate you guys attending. It's always great to connect with you guys and be in the community and so on. So thanks for that. We really appreciate that you like the session. Interesting and fun for us. Especially an old guy like me, confused by technology easily. And Sammy, there's one on I think there was mobile data center usage. I'm not sure if you caught that one.
Mobile, how about usage on mobile data centers? Any limitations? Oh, okay. I didn't see that either. I
think that might be another one we can talk about that. We can
I think that's a fantastic question. That question has not been brought to my attention before. So that's a fantastic one. We'll have to return an answer later.
Yeah, mobile, kind of like the Microsoft underwater data center. You take it, sync it for a couple of years, and then see how that goes. They just brought that. If anybody didn't see that, they have the big tube data center from Microsoft. They just brought it up out of the ocean a few days ago. It's pretty neat. And virtual is better. That's like the thing there. I'm hoping that maybe we'll figure out something, or especially we'll figure it out where we can do a little bit of both next year. So you can actually, for the people who can be in person, we can go see you, drink a beer, dance around the Austin city limits and stuff like that. But then also have the virtual sessions, which would be great. So looks like we're approaching. I think we've reached the final 10 seconds of our Q&A here. But again, you can reach out to us community anytime. We're on, catch us in the booth online here on Spice World and ask questions. We'll be there for all day today and tomorrow.
Thanks everyone so much.
Yes, thank you.